This is Finn's News Network, where we give facts, not nonsense. So, hello. I hope you had a very happy holidays and are still enjoying the holiday season. This is not a fake background, as some people have pointed out. I am actually in Stowe, Vermont. And yes, there will be an outside video this week where you will see me standing out, feet deep in snow, like last year and the year before. But there has been some big news recently. There is the new guidance, long-awaited guidance from the CDC on the quarantine time. So let's go. So let's get into it. Sorry. So if you are unvaccinated or not boosted despite being eligible for your booster and you are exposed to COVID, you quarantine for 5 days. Then if you have no symptoms, you wear your mask strictly for 5 days. And what they mean by strict mask wearing is none of that like Looney Tunes. I really should post a how-to on how to wear your mask because I've seen plenty of people not doing it. It has to be covering your nose and your chin. Air should not be getting out, which means it should be a tight mask that eliminates COVID. But that's a guidance for another day. Fully vaccinated but ineligible for a booster, like me. No need to quarantine, but you need, once again, strict mask wearing for 10 days. Fully vaccinated and you test positive. You quarantine for 5 days, and then if you have no symptoms, you can kind of go out and do society again, but strict mask wearing for the next 5 days. If you are fully vaccinated and exposed to COVID, you quarantine for 5 days, and if you have no symptoms, same story, strict mask wearing for 5 days. And if you are boosted and exposed to COVID, like my parents, well, if you don't have symptoms, you don't need to quarantine, and you can choose to wear your mask, but you don't need to. So basically what this means, this is more of a relaxed guidance. Dr. Fauci was talking to Wolf Blitzer on CNN last night, and one of the main things that he was saying was that these are mainly they shorten the quarantine times because they see that it is safe, and they also need to get staff back to work because essential workers, like airline, like workers on airlines, there have been like a ton of flights. Just on Christmas, they've canceled almost 10,000 flights at this point. It's crazy. So they're trying to get like airline workers, hospital workers, and just like any worker to help benefit human society back. And they've seen that these guidelines are safe. So you can have your call on it. I'm not, but that is what Dr. Fauci said. So coronavirus part 2, and this is just the data part of it. As usual, cases are up 105% over the 14 days. It pains me to say that. But there's just the steady climb upward, and it's absolutely horrid. But there will be something that I relate on to my next slide. That hospitalizations are only up 6%, and I thought hospitalizations would be pretty even. As I explained, Omicron 2 to 3 times as contagious, but 2 to 3 times less severe. So maybe that equals out the hospitalizations because they're only up 6% in the last 14 days. So maybe I'm right on that. The deaths, Omicron is not very severe. Same thing. So I think the deaths will kind of be even. Unfortunately, they should be going down. And then 14-day change. Tests are still up, but rapid tests don't get reported commonly, so if you have a negative rapid test, so sometimes I think that number's a little higher than actually reported, but nevertheless, I still think that it's still quite a low number, and Biden announced his plan yesterday to start rolling out more tests next month, but none, unfortunately, in time for this holiday surge of cases. And one more thing that I want to elaborate. When will coronavirus end? I was watching CNN this morning. When do we think the cases will start dropping? Now, they were dropping, and then they picked up again. I think we are in for a rough 6 weeks. So if you're not vaccinated, get vaccinated. If you're eligible for a booster and you haven't gotten your booster, get your booster, because I think that if you are unvaccinated, you are in for a very rough 6 weeks. So according to the CDC and CNN data, and then also the New York Times, vaccinations have dropped 33% last week. Now, some of this is due to the fact that, well, some states did not report data the 24th and the 25th, but a lot of that data was actually reported. And you see my line here, and it's just above, so I decreased that by a few 10,000? No. A few, like about 10,000 doses there were my line. I just showed it to kind of elaborate. And we were going up, and then we were down, and then there was a steady trend up, and then it was kind of up and down, and then, I mean, it's up. But again, as I just said, get vaccinated, get boosted. That's the only thing that you can do. Okay, once again, back into the familiar part of this channel. So please tell me I say this right. Pramila Jayapal, and I apologize if I said that wrong. She's the chair of the House Progressive Caucus. She is a Democrat. She is currently encouraging Biden to use executive power and break up the Build Back Better Act into smaller bills that they can get Senator Manchin to agree on, such as climate change and prescription drug prices. Now, if you look at him, his approval rating, it was actually starting to decrease, and that was some good news for Democrats. But the fact that there is not enough testing right now is really what's hurting a lot of people at this point. And so yeah, I do think. And so all right, I'm sorry if I said this wrong. Jayapal, I think it is so the prescription drugs, because they think that they can get Senator Manchin if they break it up into smaller segments. So Biden he's still got a much better approval rating than Trump did in his presidency, and I think that's because Biden has some ishy respect among Republicans, but almost no Democrats have respect for Trump. Biden has also worked. One of the reasons I was elaborating on a few days ago on why I thought that there was not going to be as big of a red wave was because Biden is at least moderately respected among Republicans. He worked in the Senate for a long time, and he's worked with Republicans for a while. Trump is just, he came in, so yeah, I don't know. This has been another presentation of Finn's News Network, where I give facts, not nonsense. Thanks for watching.